This video deals with checking in and checking out files from the DocMoto repository. It is important to understand the principle of check-in and check-out, since it is through this mechanism that DocMoto controls the progression of a document. Before we start, some simple definitions. When we say we are checking a document out, we are bringing a copy down from the DocMoto central repository to our local machine. And when we use the term check-in, we are returning a document to the DocMoto repository that has previously been checked out. A simple analogy to this process is the act of taking a book from a library. When we take a book out of the library, the librarian notes that we have it, and no one else can borrow that book. The librarian knows who has the book on loan. And taking a book from the library is analogous to checking a document out from DocMoto. When we have finished with the book and we return it to the library and other users are now free to take it, returning a book to the library is analogous to checking a document back into the DocMoto repository. Having understood this analogy, there is one important difference. That whilst a document is checked out from DocMoto, other users are free to view the document. They just can't make any changes to it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is check a document out, and I can do this either by double-clicking or selecting Checkout from the toolbar. Now, how DocMoto behaves when you double-click on a file is controlled in the preferences. And in this case, I have set it to ask me whether I want to open the document to view or to edit. If I open to view, DocMoto will not lock the document, but in this case I do want to edit, so that is the option that I will choose. Now, DocMoto has downloaded the file from the repository and opened it up for me to start working on. But I just want to take you back to DocMoto and show you the details panel, which shows that the document is now checked out. So let's return to my document. And I'm going to make a change that is really obvious. So I'm going to change the text colour to red. And now I have saved the document. And under certain circumstances, DocMoto monitors your local computer for any changes you make to a checked out document. And it notifies us of these changes by adding a numeral to the DocMoto icon, as shown here in red. In addition, DocMoto also asks if we would like to check the document back into the DocMoto repository. Now, whilst it is quite small to read on this screen, this dialog box is advising us to close the document in its application, in this case our word processor, before selecting OK. It is very important that we do this as it ensures that all changes are returned to the DocMoto repository correctly. As always, we are asked if we would like to add any comments. And now the modified document has been returned to the DocMoto repository. And if we take a look at the details panel, we can see there are two versions showing, and also the document is showing as being checked in. Now, if we take a look at the document's version history, and we select both versions and press Quick Look, we can use Quick Look to do a side-by-side comparison of the document. So here we can see we have two versions, version 1 and version 2 with the text in red. Now that concludes our video on checking in and checking out documents from the DocMoto repository. A great number of our users are already familiar with this principle on check-in and check-out, as it is commonly used in other document management systems. For those of you who are not as familiar with the terms, keeping in mind the simple analogy of checking a book out and checking in from a library is extremely useful. Thank you.